Hello, everybody. Scotty the Trainer here. Welcome to Scotty the Trainer Tuesdays. Today, I wanted to come to you and address you on the subject of inspiration out of desperation. Inspiration out of desperation. Now, let me just say this. Nobody wants desperate times. Nobody gets down on their hands and knees and prays, "Oh, dear God, oh, universe, please send me desperate times." But the fact of the matter is, no matter who you are, rich or poor, a big car, little car, no car at all, bus rider, doesn't make any difference. Desperate times come to all of us. There are things that life throws at us that happens to everybody. It doesn't matter what your belief is in God, where you stand, where you were raised, good side, bad side of the tracks. It makes absolutely no difference, because desperate times come to all of us because life tends to dish those things out. Emergencies and things that you were not ready for. And when those times happen, they can come and attack us and seem like the whole world is on fire. I know that everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about, because it doesn't matter. You get to go along for a while, and then all of a sudden it seems like the bottom falls out, and you wonder, what in the world did I do to deserve this? So desperate times come to everybody. So whenever we start moaning and groaning about, man, it just seems like things fell out and now things are so desperate. Guess what? We all are going through that. Even the people that you look at and you go, man, I wish I was like them, because if I had what they had, you don't know what they're fighting when they go in their house. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So let's talk a moment about moments of desperation. Desperation and the inspiration that comes from it. Let me give you an example. If you've worked a job and you've been set on that job for the last, let's just say 10, 12 years, all right? You've gone to that job. That job has provided the money. The money that you've used to buy luxury items. The money that you've used to buy necessity items. The money to pay the rent, to pay the bills, to pay your mortgage, to pay for the kids' schooling. All of that. Now, if you lose that job, all of a sudden, the company closes, they cut back, you get the pink slip. Guess what happens? You're in a moment of desperation. But in the middle of that desperation, a light of inspiration comes, because you know what you're going to start doing? You'll start hustling to find some way to make ends meet. You'll get another job. Or you'll do like a lot of Americans. You'll work 2 part-time jobs trying to make things overlap. You'll start selling things. You'll have a yard sale. What can I live with? What can I live without? How much money can I get for this? What can I do? What happens is inspiration gets birthed and pushed to the forefront because of those moments of desperation. Now, let me talk to you for a moment about a couple of things in regards to desperation. Desperation, number one, desperation tests our true commitment. Desperate times will test our true commitment. Think about at the beginning of the year, all the plans you had. We're going to get out of debt. We're going to do this. We're going to pay this off. We're going to purchase this. We're going to see this change. We're going to have this, this, and this. All those things. But then desperate moments just hit you right upside the head. Now you have to make a decision. You have to make a choice in that moment. Am I committed to this? Am I committed to see this all the way through? Or now, can I stop? Do I reevaluate? Do I push some of these debts off till later? What do I need to do? It tests our commitment. I don't think there's any greater test of commitment than what we call marriage. Because the moment that you get married, you take hands, you make the vows, till death do us part. All of that in the eyes of our friends and God the Creator and the universe. And then 2 people with 2 personalities and sometimes 2 different backgrounds come together. You don't think there's going to be some desperate times? Why do you think the divorce rate is so high? Come on. Desperate moments. But that's when people have to then check themselves and look at their commitment. Because desperation will challenge, it will test your commitment. And I'm talking about a final exam here, not just some little quiz you take with 10 questions. It will test it. Business relationships are this way. Yes, we're in business together. And then when the desperate times come, who's blaming who? Who's standing on whose side? Are we together in this, or are we fighting against each other? Desperate times test our commitment. You know, I don't think you really know how good something is until it's been tested. Lee Iacocca, the man who was responsible for Chrysler and Dodge, when he was CEO, Lee Iacocca said, anything that has been built deserves to be tested. And that's absolutely true. He knew something about building. He knew something about testing. You don't really know if your belief system is worth a dime. Or as one man used to say, you don't know if your belief system is worth a nickel's worth of dog meat. You don't know if it's any good at all unless it's been tested. You don't know if a car is worth driving. Why do you take it on a test drive? Because that's what you want to do. You want to see how it holds together, how it performs. That's what happens in moments of desperation. It tests us. Do you really believe what you say you believe? Do you really stand for what you say you stand for? Desperation. It tests our commitment. The other thing about desperation is, number two, it causes us to get rid of excess baggage. It causes us to get rid of excess baggage. When you are going through a desperate time, you start making decisions on what can stay, what needs to go, what people get to stay in my life. Think about it. If your circle of family starts fighting against you, your circle of friends start turning their back against you, what do? You start evaluating who gets to stay in the circle and who's got to go. Who gets to stay and who's got to go? What do I really believe now that I'm in this moment of desperation? Anybody can have a belief system of how great life is and how wonderful things are because of the fact that, you know, they got money and friends are with them and they got everything that they need and the car's running great. But then let the car break down, right? Let the house have problems. Let the relationship have problems. Now you are in a moment of desperation and you got to start deciding what baggage gets to stay on my boat and what baggage has got to go. When the storms hit the olden days, the masters of the ship used to start lightening the load because they knew they had to get rid of the excess baggage. Desperation makes you truly say, what do I need to keep? And what do I need to throw away? Inspiration that is birthed out of desperation, sometimes that inspiration would never be there except for the desperation in our life. Some of the decisions I would have never made except my back was against the wall. Some of the things I would have never done to eliminate certain negative aspects of my life had my back not been against the wall. Certain moments of inspiration would have never burst forth except for the moments of desperation that were there. So just before we curse the darkness that's in our life, perhaps it's there so we can light a candle and let the moments of inspiration burn. I'm Scotty the Trainer. This is Scotty the Trainer Tuesday. That's how I see it.